Britannia Challenged Cup for coxed fours. On the Berkshire side, the Nottingham Rowing Club. And from Sydney, Australia, the Sydney Rowing Club on the Bucks Station. One hand from the River Trent and the other from the Parramatta River. Abbotsford, Sydney. They've come a long way for this. It is an event which has been won in the not too distant past by Australians. Banks Rowing Club won it in 2011. Sydney was semi-finalists last year. Four of the five in the boat finished fourth at the head of Charles, a club with massive tradition and respect, the oldest rowing club in New South Wales, and there are some who are considering them favourites for the Britannia Challenge Cup, and they've certainly gone out as if they mean it.
Yeah, absolutely. This is another really commanding lead here from Sydney Rowing Club, and they look very precise, very accurate as they row down towards us in this shot. You can see that Nottingham behind them are really moving much quicker in terms of their stroke rate to try and stay in this race, but Sydney are just looking back on them comfortably here.
Nottingham did reach Friday last year. Their boat is coxed by Sophie Lee Lawton, includes in the number 2 seat Max Herndon, who's doubling up, racing in both the Wyfold and the Britannia. But his workload is going to be reduced here, evidently, by a majestic-looking Sydney crew, coxed by Kendall Brodie, with Matt Dignan at stroke, Ed White, Tom Gunton, and Steve Pale at bow. And once more, they look entirely untroubled, as if born to this water water on the other side of the globe. That's the sort of picture that makes it all worthwhile coming halfway around the world.
Yeah, and it's going to be quite a different view here for the cox of these fours as it has been for the coxes in the 8 races that we've seen previously. They are in the bow of the boat, so at the front of the boat, behind the oarsman, lying down, looking out directly into clear water, whereas in 8s traditionally you sit in the stern of the boat facing your stroke man, and you are blocked then by the 8 people in front of you. So it's quite a different feeling, it's quite a different vibe. I don't particularly like coxing like this in the bow-loaded boats because I feel very isolated from my crew. You get to rely on different senses, you have to feel more, you obviously can't see what your crew's doing, and it's impossible to see what the crew behind you is doing, so you have to really rely on your bow person to feed back information to you.
Yeah, it is an entirely different dynamic, isn't it? I mean, just physically speaking, look at that picture. The cox looks like luggage.
Well, absolutely. I mean, many will argue that the cox is luggage wherever they're sitting. But yes, no, it is. It's a very different dynamic, and as I said, I don't like it. You know, you can imagine the sound of the bowman's seat sliding back and forth. You can hear the oars clunking in the gates much more because you're that much closer to them, and I find it not a particularly pleasant experience. You can also, unfortunately, see if there's a wave coming towards you about to break over your head, which is also not nice.
Impending gloom.
Exactly.
Well, there's not much gloom impending for the Sydney Rowing Club here. They had their big Henley fundraising dinner last Thursday in order to be able to afford to send their biggest force ever to Henley. They've got 4 crews competing here this year, and this crew looks muscular and smooth and together, and at least in the context of this, their first heat, unconquerable, uncatchable. Warmer day in London than in Sydney today. They will certainly feel at home in these conditions. And it's a tough gig now for Nottingham, out of West Bridgeford on the banks of the River Trent, to keep alive and remain spirited. There's the shortest journey, back up 2/3 of the M1. Sydney Rowing Club will be here for a while longer. And indeed, with this performance, justify their pre-event favouritism. Sydney Rowing Club, with comfort, ahead of the Nottingham Rowing Club. Sydney go through.